friends, long time no see. My new job has kind of been kicking my ass and I've just been really busy trying to kind of get the hang of things, and my reading has sadly suffered because of it. I have to find a better balance, and because I'm not at the bookstore and I don't have like hours of like uninterrupted reading, it's been kind of tricky. So I don't have a reading vlog, but I figured I would finally answer all the lovely questions that some of you sent my way for my 2K Q&A. I just wanted to thank any and all of you, whether that is somebody who watches like a few minutes of my videos or like my long ass 45 minutes of me blabbing. I just really appreciate. I, for one, get so excited when my favorites upload or I find a new channel and person that I really connect with. And so it's such a sweet thought that I might be that person for some of you. So thank you for all the love. It means a lot to me. So yeah, I figured also if I don't talk for too long, I can include some of my personal favorites in this video as well. So let's just dive on in. The first question is intentions for the year, bookish or not. And I hate to be this bitch, but I do not believe really in like New Year's intentions or resolutions. I've never been one to subscribe to that. It's just kind of a social construction, and I just feel like if I want to incorporate something in my life, or if there's a certain goal I have in mind, it's the time of year or starting said goal or whatever to the start of the year just doesn't make much sense to me. Like if you want to add something or if you want to lead your life with more intention, do it like whenever that inspiration or that initiative strikes. Like just do it then and there. Who cares if it's February? Who cares if it's November? Like it doesn't matter. So that's kind of how I do things. I don't know. I just try and lead my life with intention. And if I'm inspired to do something or incorporate something into my life or whatever, I just do it when that thought pops in my mind, independently of the time of year. So no, I do not sadly have any intentions for you that I could share. Okay, the next question. What's a book that you love but isn't the kind of book that you usually read? Probably, and I've talked about this book before, but I would say science fiction, and I can think of two books, one of them being Kindred by Octavia Butler and The Dispossessed by Ursula Le Guin. It's not a genre that I read too much of, but it's one that I thoroughly enjoyed nonetheless. So with my limited exposure, I should probably get into that style of book a lot more. Kindred especially, that one was a really interesting one. It deals with time travel and, oh crap, Charlie's calling me. One sec. Okay, back to Kindred. So we follow a young woman who's living in Los Angeles with her partner, but she has these episodes, I guess you could say, where she is transported back to the antebellum South, and she kind of follows this family of this slave owner plantation family, and she's kind of the like fairy godmother in like in a weird perverse way to this white child, the son of the slave or plantation owner. And so she visits this boy as he's experiencing these moments of like near death experiences throughout his life essentially, and it was just super interesting. I'm not doing a very good job explaining this because it's also been a while since I read it, but I just thought it was such a unique story. I loved the like time travel component, I loved the racial component, and it was such an interesting read and unlike anything I'd ever read before. So I definitely want to read more of Octavia Butler and just science fiction in general. The authors that I've read, I have thoroughly enjoyed. Ursula Le Guin is another great author, science fiction author that I really enjoy. I've read two of her novels now, and yeah, I just want to keep at it, you know? So those are probably two examples that just I can think of off the top of my head. What are your favorite movies? I got so many movie questions, and I mean, I don't know how to break this to you, but I do not watch movies. I have quite like literary taste, but when it comes to movies and TV, I am just a trashy hoe. I've mentioned it here and there, but I will just set the record straight. I love trashy TV. Any and all of the Housewife franchise shows, I am an avid watcher and, well, I was gonna say participant, but I literally just tell Charlie and he has no idea what I'm talking about. So yes, like that is all I consume. And like here and there I consume like Euphoria or Succession and just slightly better shows. But yeah, I don't watch movies ever really, but one that I watched years and years ago and I really loved is called Her with, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. Loved that movie, highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. Back in the day, that used to be my favorite and one that I still think about, and yeah, I think I would still enjoy it if I watched it now. But yeah, I am sorry to disappoint. I am not a movie watcher. I don't know why, because I was gonna say like, oh, I don't have the attention span for like a 2-hour movie, but yet like you give me 3 back-to-back episodes of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and like I'm there, popcorn, drinks, like, so I don't know why. I don't know. Okay, next question. What books are you looking forward to reading this year? The ones I hauled, I really want to get back into going to the library too, because I bought a lot of books, but I'm mostly wanting to read Backlist this year, and yeah, just all the ones that I purchased. Lent, I'm really stoked for. The Hilary Mantel trilogy, the Wolf Hall trilogy, I really want to finish this year actually. And what else am I looking forward to reading? The new, actually no, that's a lie. I mean, I do want to read Backlist, but I really want to read the sequel to The Idiot that I read last year and absolutely loved. So yeah, there's lots of good things I hope to read this year. How did you get into book selling? Oh, that's a good one. I actually stumbled upon it quite randomly. As I've mentioned before, my dad is a wood sculptor and artist. His studio is in an area in the city where there's a bunch of little artist shops and other independent stores. And the bookstore actually was opening very close to where my dad works. And so he met the owners, got along with them really great, and he reported back to me and was like, there's a bookstore opening really close to me. I think you would love the owners, love the store. And so I just walked on in and applied and I got the job. So that's how that happened. It's not something that I like actively sought out, but I'm really glad that it found me, if you will, because it has been just probably the best work experience that I've had thus far. So I love it. It's so fun. I'm itching to get back into the bookstore. If you could recommend 3 books to get to know you, what would they be? Ooh, that's a great one. Probably The Pisces by Melissa Broder, because I thought that book was so funny and just very explicit and R-rated. And sometimes I feel like I have a bit of like a potty mouth and I'm a bit like impertinent and just like have no filter. And I feel like that book has a bit of that in the voice of the main character mostly. So I would say The Pisces. The Idiot by Elif Batuman. I just really connected with the main character again, and I just found that book incredibly relatable because I too had something kind of similar happen to me when I was in first year of college. So that, I think, like, you'd get to know me. And probably Open Water, because I'm a romantic hoe and I love a deep intellectual kind of romance vibe. So I'm gonna go for that one. So Open Water, The Pisces, and The Idiot. If you want to get to know me, read that. Backlist book you want to get to in 2022. Like I said, I think the Hilary Mantel Wolf Hall trilogy. I don't know why I've been thinking about that book. The first one, because I've only read the first one. I've been thinking about that book a lot recently, and I kind of want to dip into historical fiction, which is something that I like don't crave often. So I kind of want to ride this wave and read it soon, because I know that I won't be in the mood to read that forever. So may as well do that now. So yeah, definitely the Wolf Hall trilogy. Lol, this question I found so funny. Do you read books or magazines while you're in the toilet? Neither. I scroll on my phone for far too long. That's really what I do. What is your favorite Thinky Woman books? Ooh, that's another great question. I'd have to say Outline by Rachel Cusk. Second Place by Rachel Cusk. I think she's like the queen of the Thinky Woman. What else? The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson, but she's like a real Thinky woman. Who else can I think of? And I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness, also by Claire Vaye Watkins, I would say is a Thinky woman novel. So yeah, those are my picks. What's the worst tea you've ever had? I love this question. Let me think. I honestly haven't. Oh no, you know what? I do have to be Lapsang Souchong. I hope I'm saying that right, first of all, but I find the smoky flavor so overpowering and just so intense, like without even brewing it. If you just open a bag of that tea, I mean, if you want to be like inside a smokehouse or inside your coal barbecue, then this is the tea for you. I just think it's like quite an acquired taste, or you have to have very specific taste buds to enjoy this tea. I know I'm offending a lot of people out there, but I worked at a tea shop back in the day, and this tea, every time somebody would order it and I'd open it up, I'd be like I'd just pass out from the smell alone. So I think that's probably the worst. It's not even bad, it's just like not my taste. So that would have to be it. Which author genre do you want to read more of? Poetry. I mentioned this, when was it? I think it was in my postscript tag. I just started reading poetry last year, and it's been a really lovely experience, and I know that there's plenty of authors and whose voices I have not read yet, and I just want to continue to expand my horizons and knowledge and different forms and styles of poetry for myself, but also just because bringing it back to working at the bookstore, that's like one area that I know nothing about. And I hate to say whenever somebody, I mean, not that this happens often because we don't sell that much poetry, sadly, but whenever there is that customer that is like, oh, like, what would you recommend? And I just stare blankly at the section and I'm just like, your guess is as good as mine, sis. Like, I don't know which direction to point you in. So yeah, I definitely want to get into that for, like I said, myself, but just so I'm a better bookseller in 2022. Do you have any recommendations for nonfiction from Canada? Yes. Oh my gosh, Billy Ray Belcourt. I love him. I kind of regret not he walked into the bookstore and I was fangirling so hard that I was unable to introduce myself and tell him that I knew exactly who he was and what an amazing author he is. So biggest regret thus far. I'm so mad at myself, but I love him. He's a professor actually at the college I went to, and he lives in the city, so I'm like praying he comes back in and I don't make a fool of myself again. But he wrote A History of My Brief Body, which is a memoir documenting his life as an Indigenous young queer man living in Canada. It talks about colonial violence, his upbringing, and he weaves together the voices of fellow critics and theorists and people like Maggie Nelson, Sheila Heti, Butler, Audre Lorde. I mean, just a bunch of important figures that we either know or don't know. But yeah, I just love his voice. I also actually read his poetry collection, NDN Coping Mechanisms, and that was beautiful. So definitely Billy Ray Belcourt. Another Canadian voice that I love is Joshua Whitehead, another Indigenous man. He is based in Alberta, I think, and he wrote Johnny Appleseed, which is, I want to say auto-fiction, but I'm hesitant to say so, but it's a beautiful story, coming of age story. And he also actually edited Love After the End, which is a book anthology compiling Canadian Indigenous authors, as well as some US Indigenous authors, and they're all science fiction stories with hopeful endings and stories of Indigenous joy and resilience, and it was beautiful. So definitely check those two authors out. Sorry, I'm a mess because this question was specifically nonfiction. So Billy Ray Bilcourt is nonfiction, but Joshua Whitehead, the two books that I just cited, are obviously fiction. So as for anything else in the realm of nonfiction, I think that's all I've got for you. Yeah, I think that's all that comes to mind at the moment. Thoughts on cancel culture / reading canceled authors? This is a great question, and actually Charlie and I had a really great discussion around this the other night. So here is my take. I don't believe in cancel culture. I think that we need to give space for people to like redeem themselves or understand why their certain perspective or position on a certain topic is wrong or faulty or inaccurate. It's important to give people the chance to better themselves and educate themselves and understand why their views were either problematic or why they were canceled. So that is one aspect of the question, but the other one is thoughts on reading canceled authors. And this is the thing, I think it's a very personal thing, as well as very dependent on what it is that the author did. For example, how I can illustrate this point is the author of Americana. She's a Nigerian, quite highly esteemed author whose name I'm blanking on at the moment, but it is very well documented that she is transphobic and a TERF. So when it comes to, and she publicly shamed Akwaeke Mezi, one of my favorite authors, last year. If you follow Bookish Beef, you'd know. But anyway, so for example, am I going to give money to this person? Am I going to support them with my dollar moving forward? No. However, on the flip side, authors like Jonathan Franzen, whose book I'm reading right now, like controversy, or I guess why people wanted to cancel him, as far as I know, is because he didn't want his book being part of the Oprah book club, which, like, to me, is that reason enough to not purchase his books? Like, not really. I'm still gonna read them. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I kind of judge it in a case-by-case basis and go from there. That's what I would encourage anybody to do. And it also depends if it's nonfiction versus fiction, because, for example, like, I understand why if you were, I don't know, writing like a paper on, I don't know, US politics, and you read like Donald Trump's books, like, or like if you're trying to critique something and then you're reading books about the person that you're critiquing in your paper or whatever, like, I don't see an issue with that necessarily. Again, maybe I would try and get it from the library, or not support the person in question directly, but I don't think there's a problem with you consuming their work of nonfiction for the sake of citing them in a text or whatever, a paper that you're writing or whatever. But if it's like a fictional story and the person has questionable morals that clash with your own, I would just consider, like, do I want to support this person financially or not? So yeah, that's my long-winded take on that answer to that question. So it just depends on what it is that they did and whether I think it's bad enough for me not to want to support them, or if it's like, you know, either they apologized for whatever misgivings, or if I just don't think it's as big of like a deal, or it doesn't clash with like my morals or ethics, then I consume. So yes, I hope that made sense. Which book / series did you grow up on that makes you feel nostalgic? I've talked about this before, but it has to be Fairy Dust. I'll insert a picture here. That is the first book that my mom read to me in English, and we kind of like read it together, and it just makes me feel so nostalgic because it reminds me of the small coastal town that I grew up in, and building little wooden fairy houses with my dad, and like writing to the fairies, and it's just like such a sweet little book. And it's a chapter book, but it's got like little illustrations that are just so darling. What are you looking forward to this year, bookish or not? Getting into law school, hopefully. and just continuing on growing this beautiful community. Yeah, just enjoying this kind of final year before I go back to school and life takes on a more intense speed, I guess. So just kind of, yeah, slowing down and enjoying the now, because life is probably going to get a lot more hectic the older I get. So yeah. Okay, so those are all the questions. And if I haven't babbled for too long, I just want to give a shout out to all these lovely people that I've either been watching for a long time or that I discovered last year that deserve your love. And yeah, so let's do that real quick. So I thought I would start with my like OG faves, the people that I've been watching way before I started BookTube, who kind of introduced me, I guess, to this little pocket on the internet. And that would have to be Max from Well Done Books, which I don't know what happened to him. I was an avid watcher. I loved that man, and he just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to him. None of his videos are up. So Max, if you're, I don't know why he'd be watching me, because I am tiny in comparison to his following, but please come back. I miss your videos, and I should probably look him up on Instagram. Like maybe he's active on there. I don't know. If anybody knows about Max, please let me know. And the other kind of like OG person has to be Alex, in my opinion, like king of BookTube. From What Page Are You On? I absolutely adore him. I've been watching him since he started his channel. And I was just like a silent watcher. I honestly was like a silent YouTube watcher for the entirety of my time in YouTube until recently, and I really regret it. But yes, I love his videos, and you all probably have subscribed to these people if you're watching me. And then the other person is Jess from Sunbeams Jess. Now she is like a lifestyle vlogger, but she does amazing book content. I love that woman. Her voice is just like everything to me. It's just so like therapeutic and like ASMR-y. I don't know what it is, but love her. And then another person that kind of falls into that category would also be Rick. I think his channel name is like Rick McDonald, if I'm not mistaken. I just love his reviews. He's kind of like the YouTube dad in my eyes, along with like Alex and Max. And he's just the best. His reviews are just so well thought out and executed. He's just got really great insight, and his videos are really like consumable because they're not like 45 minutes of like blabbing like me. It's just much more concise, to the point, and very professional, just like Alex. And I really love that. Okay, and then obviously the book hotties, Hannah, Kieran, Jalen, CJ, they're awesome. You guys all know them. And my bookish bays, Ben and Rebecca, kind of all started at the same time, or like found each other at the same time, and I love them to death. So you guys all know them as well. And I wanted to also mention my other besties on here, like Carolyn from Pages of Carolyn. I just love her. She's like a beautiful like porcelain doll. Her voice is also very ASMR-y, just like Jess, and I love her book recs. I just love her as a person, and I'm like hoping that life takes me to New York City so I can meet her in real life. And Tammy actually also lives close to NYC, and I also want to meet her in real life. So her channel is Tams Can Read, I'm pretty sure. I actually stumbled upon her channel before I started my booktube journey. Anyways, yes, she's super sweet. Then we have Renee from So I Read This Book. She is from New Zealand. I love her aesthetic. She's got a beautiful home and beautiful sense of style, and I love her long videos. I love that we have the same love of black tea. And she's just so great. So that's a new find. I don't know how the algorithm just knew we would vibe. So yeah, she's awesome. Anna as well. We love her. I think she's like the funniest like person on BookTube. I just like actually laugh out loud every time I click on one of her videos. She's just the best. And her channel is Anna Wallace John, if I'm not mistaken. Sage, I love them, and their beautiful family and their beautiful child is adorable. And I draw a lot of like inspiration from their life because I too would love to have like a homestead situation at some point in my life. So I love it when they show parts of their like, yeah, just home life and what it's like growing your own food and just having a beautiful hunk of land to call your own. I just love them for that, as well as obviously their bookish content, but yeah, they're so sweet. And Sarah from String Bean Books, love her. I met her in real life and that was just such a lovely experience, and I hope to see her again soon. She's also Canadian. Please come back to the tubes. Love her. And then some like newer favorites. Leah from Leah's Reads or something like that. I can't remember their like handle, but they're lovely. Love their energy. It's just so bubbly and fun. And I love that their videos are like super long, and I just feel like I can put them on and do my cooking or like do my laundry, and I feel like we're hanging out. If I ever go to Toronto, Leah, I'm coming for you. And then we have Julie, Linen Librarian, who is so cozy, just kind of like their name. They're so cozy and warm and sweet. And I mean, I haven't met her in real life, but I suspect she's like that in real life, and I love the book she reads. She's fairly new to the booktube realm. I know that they have a bookstagram that's so lovely because she pairs the books with art, and I just love that. So creative. But yeah, I think they're based in Seattle, so Julie, maybe I'll see you and meet you one day in real life. We should have like a bookish convention. You know how like way back in the day, like the beauty gurus would have like a beauty convention, whose like name of the convention I'm blanking on right now, but we should have a booktube convention. Who would like that? I mean, please like raise your hand if you'd be like down for that, because I would. I don't know. Just putting it out there. Bookish convention 2022. Then we have Carrie Ann, who is so smart, and I love her recommendations. They're quite unique and different, and her house looks stunning. I feel like they have a great sense of style too, and I thoroughly enjoy when she posts, which isn't often. So whenever I do see her, I just like get so excited. And then Dee from Heron's Corner, who took a little hiatus, but she's back, and I'm so happy to see Dee on my subscription box again. She's super fun. She is based in the UK, so she's got some great like UK Black author recommendations, and I just love her insightful reviews, and they're so sweet. And then finally, KG is her channel. Also lovely creator. She has a lot of great poetry recommendations, which I really appreciate since I'm trying to dabble in that area, like I said. So that is it for today's video. I hope it wasn't too long. Thank you so much again for watching me. It means so much to me, and I'm sending a lot of love to all of you out there. I'll see you soon. Bye.